everyone, today I'm going to be filming my university student study essentials. So they're all of the things that I use throughout the entire year to help me with revision, but also just to help with general studying and general notes. So first of all, which is something that everyone's going to need, is a laptop. It can be really difficult to write the notes by hand, especially in lectures which are quite fast paced. But at the moment, with lectures being online, you're going to need a good laptop. So I actually really recommend mine. I think it's great. It's the HP Pavilion, and it's not too expensive, not as expensive as the Apple ones, and I use this constantly, and it has good charge, it's a good size, and I definitely recommend getting yourself a good laptop because you will be on it most of the time. Next is whiteboards. I have two different kinds of whiteboards to show you. The first being one of these ones, which I love these type of whiteboards. This one's from Wilko's. It isn't too expensive. I think it's between £4 and £6, and it's just got all of the days of the week. And at the moment I've got a meal plan on here, and I just plan out everything that I'm going to be eating in the week, which helps with shopping. But in terms of studying, I used this all the way through last year, and I wrote down what days I would be having certain lessons and when I was planning on doing work for those lessons and lectures, and it really helped. You can put it up on the side in your room and it's really big and really clear, and I would definitely recommend one of these. If you can't get something like that, you could just get a normal whiteboard. I also use this whiteboard all of the time. At the moment I'm writing my daily checklists on here, just because that one's in the kitchen, so I needed a different one. And I also use these for revision when I write down facts of cases and to help myself memorise them. Whiteboards are really good because you don't use as much paper. If you would rather use paper, which I do also use quite a lot, these notepads are really great. They're the Cambridge Jotter notepads. They're cheaper than other notepads like Pucker pads because these ones you can buy in like big packs off Amazon. They've got loads of pages, and I fill these with bullet pointed notes. After I've finished taking all of my notes from lectures, I'll kind of condense it all down in neat form in one of these to help me memorise. Another way I do work and take notes is using flashcards. This little holder was from WH Smith. It costs about £5, and it's got loads of little separators inside where you can keep all the different flashcards of different subjects, and a little bit at the front where I keep my empty flashcards. And these are so useful. They're really easy to put in your bag and carry around, and it looks really nice as well. But mainly with my flashcards, I also separate them using these little clips. They're so handy, especially if you don't want to carry that around with you. You can take just a little pack of your certain topics, so I separate topics using these little clips with you, like in your bag. I've actually taken these away with me like on day trips and things during revision periods, so that I could test myself like in the car and stuff like that, and it's much easier than carrying the big thing around or having loose cards. So I definitely recommend using these, and also using different coloured cards for colour coordination. My favourite type of cards are lined ones. These kind of ones you can obviously get from places like WH Smith and stuff like that, but you can find them cheaper elsewhere. But I much prefer the ones that are lined on both sides. I like using white ones, and I colour coordinate using the colour of the pens, but also I do have different coloured ones. Another thing that I use to store flashcards inside of, or if I make mini posters for notes, is these little folders. I've got these ones from B&M, and they're only £1 for a big pack. They're really super cute and tiny, and I really love these. And if you can't afford, or even you just don't want to pay that much for the other holder, these ones are really good because you can still fit loads of cards in these. Next up is something a little bit bigger. I've just had to go and grab this. Is a corkboard, which this one is really big. You are likely, if you're living in halls, to have a corkboard. I'll be shocked if you don't have one, but I loved mine in my room, so I knew I wanted to get one to have in my uni room in my house when I moved out of halls. So we actually painted this one around the edge with a nice pastel colour, but these aren't too expensive. And these are so great. I've got checklists in there, little things on there, like little pictures. But it's really, really good when you do your revision posters, especially if you don't want to stick them all over your walls. If you just put maybe two or three revision posters on here at a time, you're more likely to make a lot more than that. But just for the ones that you are focusing on at that time, somewhere visible. And this is also a place where I keep my checklist. These are my own made checklists that are available on Etsy, which will also be down below. This one is just one that I've printed on paper, but they're also available to buy like on glossy paper, or you can just download them and print them yourselves. But this isn't an advertisement. I just think that you should definitely keep something like this, like a revision checklist, where you can write down your topics and tick off when you've done certain things for revision. So on mine, it says about rereading my lecture notes, creating case cards and doing past papers. And stuff like this I've used for years, but I've always done them by hand. So I much prefer this one. It's much neater and it's easier because I can just keep printing them off. But they're really, really good to pin up and to keep track of all of the work that you're doing. And it also really motivates you to keep on top of doing those kind of things. Next up, in terms of little stationery bits, I really love these kinds of little tags that you stick inside of your books. So I have in law loads of massive textbooks, and these are super useful to stick in for certain things. So you could decide to colour coordinate certain tags for certain things that you know, or instead of getting these kind which are plastic and you can't write on, it's really great to get ones like this that are paper, so you can actually write on them what is useful on that page. And I much prefer ones like this, but these are the ones I've got at the moment, so I'm just going to use these ones. Highlighters are also an obsession of mine. I have loads of different pastel ones. I use them when I make revision posters by hand or when I make my flashcards. There's loads of different types that you could buy, but I really like the pastel ones. There's Stabilo ones, Stabilo, I think that's how you say it. I've got the chunky version, the thinner version. But also, if you want something more affordable, Wilko also does some, which are literally the exact same colours, they just look like this. I have loads of different types because I absolutely love highlighters, but I would definitely recommend getting highlighters. They're so useful. In terms of actually making flashcards and making my revision posters, I use specific pens that I've actually been asked quite a lot of questions about on Instagram. So I've only grabbed two here, but there's a pack that you can buy, and they're by Nib. They're called Nib pens. I will try and leave them below. They're fine liner pens and you can get them in loads of different colours. I got mine from B&M, so they're really affordable, but you can also buy them online. And I just use these to colour coordinate and make all of my posters. I like my posters to look quite pretty. So these ones are really good. To write notes in black ink, a black vinyl liner is always good for posters and flashcards. And then if I'm just writing inside of a pad, I'll just use biros. But these Uniball pens are really good. And these ones may be a little bit more expensive, but still not too expensive, and I think you can get them from B&M as well. Next is a study planner. Now I quite like to plan out what I'm doing in a week or write important dates on a piece of paper to pin up on my wall, which I'm hoping to make those kind of things more for Etsy as well in the future. But to take on the go, one of these is really great. This one's from Tiger. It's actually from last year. I didn't use it loads, so I'm actually going to just use it again this year because pretty much most of the boxes have only been half filled, so I'm just going to use it again. These are really good just if you are in a lesson and they tell you something important you need to remember, then you can jot this down. Then I come home and then copy it back up to whatever's on my wall. But this is also good on the go to remember what you need to do. So I would definitely recommend having one of these. A lot of people have like the really mini ones, but I like something a little bit bigger, and it's really pretty. Next up are some more folders. These ones are really great. So you will need things like ring binders. I don't have one to show you right now, but they're really helpful. You'll probably have lots of handouts, or you'll just have lots of things that it's possible to print out. But before I put them in a ring binder, because they're quite hefty to get through, especially when there's lots of paper. With the paper that I'm going to be using quite a bit that week, I will put them in something like this, just Polly Pockets. They're really, really useful and good to have on the go. And I label all of my ring binders and also those kind of folders with these little labels, which might remind you of being at primary school with the little name labels. But I stick these on everything. I absolutely love labelling things. These you can probably get, I think, from Poundland or something like that. And they're just little sticky ones that you can write what the topic is what I normally do, and I pop it on front of all of my folders, and they're really useful. Finally is my bag. Everyone's going to need a bag. That's quite an obvious one, not really a tip, but this bag especially I think is really great. This one's a Cath Kidston one. Definitely not the cheapest, but they do have quite a few sales come on. But I love this one so much because it does have a section inside, especially for your laptop, and it keeps it really protected and dry. Especially with girls, there can be the want to have kind of more grown-up bags. This isn't very grown-up. I probably look like a little kid walking around with it on, but I love it anyway. But a lot of girls have these like leather bags over the shoulder, but they don't close at the top, and it rains a lot, especially in Nottingham. I feel like we only had about 10 sunny days last year. You definitely want a bag that's going to protect especially your laptop. So getting one like that, it's also like padded inside, is really helpful. And the ones over your shoulder can be really painful to carry, especially if you're having to walk to lessons and things like that. So I definitely recommend getting something similar to what I have. And that is all of my uni essentials. Thank you so much for watching. There's so many more things I'd love to show you about things that I think that you should definitely have in your house or in your uni room. But at the moment I just wanted to stick to studying, because those are things that you're going to definitely need all year long, and the new year starts soon. So hopefully this was useful to some of you. And please leave any more of your suggestions below, or your favourite things that you use for studying. And also please like and subscribe if you're looking forward to some more videos. I'm definitely going to film some more in the future. Bye!